Putin's finale. Ukraine now believes Russia's war will end in September. While some analysts and Defense Department officials predict that the war in Ukraine could last several months or more years, Ukrainian intelligence suggests that Russia may be aiming to end its so-called special military operation in Ukraine in the next 4 months. The main intelligence directorate of the Kyiv Defense Ministry said on Tuesday that intelligence suggests the Kremlin plans to end the war by September. There is information among the military occupiers that the so-called special military operation is scheduled for September 2022, the ministry said. What Russian President Vladimir Putin thinks he might do differently in the period leading up to September is unknown, but with a firm deadline potentially set, the Kremlin and Ukraine's military director, General Alexander Vladimirovich Dvornikov, could well use the new tactic. What happened to May 9th? This speculation comes after weeks of speculation that the Russian president plans to end the war by May 9th, Victory Day. In March, local media reported that the Russian president planned to end his military campaign in Ukraine in May. Ending the war on a national holiday, usually celebrated with huge parades in Russia and the former Soviet republics, would be tied to the Kremlin's assertion that Ukraine is under high-level neo-Nazi influence. The independent English-language Ukrainian news outlet Kyiv Independent said in March that intelligence from the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces suggests that Russian soldiers are being told the war should be over by May. Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church, also seemed to support reports that Russia plans to end the war within a few days. Francis said on Tuesday that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán had told him the war would end by May 9th. Orbán, when I met him, told me that the Russians have a plan and that everything will end on May 9th. I hope so, Francis told the Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera. Because now it's not easy. Donbass, this is Crimea, this is Odessa, this takes away the Black Sea port from Ukraine. I am pessimistic, but we must make every possible gesture to stop the war. What is victory for Russia? Messages may not necessarily contradict each other. With Russian soldiers effectively defeated in Kyiv and almost all troops deployed to the eastern region of Donbass, it is clear that the Kremlin must now redefine victory in order to save face at the end of this conflict. Initially intent on conquering the Ukrainian capital, the Russian military is now focused on taking control of the Donbass. Some reports also suggest that pseudo-referendums will be held in Russian-occupied regions in the same vein as the illegal Crimean independence referendum held in 2014. If the Russians successfully hold these referendums by May 9th, it could be a victory that Putin hopes to celebrate this month. However, in just a few days, the chances of this happening seem slim. By September, however, the Russian military will have enough time to hold referendums, create a pretext for annexing the region, and potentially liberate breakaway regions from Ukraine. If the Russian president does intend to celebrate some level of victory in Ukraine by May 9th, Ukraine could be in for a particularly tumultuous week.